Yes, yes, yes. Hello, welcome to the Monday Night Live with me, Avnish Hegde. And as you can see, it is the familiar faces of Akshay Kumar Swami and Nikhil Popat. And they're all going to be peering to our screens because we're doing this Monday Night Live during the India-Pakistan game, which is happening in Colombo. Yes, Colombo. I'm not even making any sort of pun straight up, but if you guys saw earlier today, Virat Kohli, his 47 one-day international ton, and I said Colombo because he absolutely loves Colombo, guys. Happy hunting ground and all of that. Brilliant from Virat. We'll talk about KL Rahul, not just with the bat, but with the gloves. So obviously, Ishan Kishan is not a lock. And we'll start there because I want to talk about so many things in the shows, guys. But I'll just first of all say hi to you guys. How are you, Akshay, Nikhil? Nikhil, I'll start with you. Lovely to see you in blue as ever.
Yeah, and Hardik's just got Babar Azam bowled. So
Oh,
just the
really?
opportune time to start this live in the best possible manner.
Oh,
And
my
yeah, I
God.
think this is uh, the ideal batting day that India had. As I mean, batting 2 days. Hopefully, that's not the norm ahead, but as good as it could get, and so till infinite times happy for one guy who's been able to shut everybody up. Stop being recently biased. Look
Yeah,
at those numbers, look at that skill, look at the shot, that hit of Shadab Khan coming down the wicket. Not many people in the world can attempt. The fact that he got it for a six just tells you it may not always work out, but there is a lot more to back. So, cheers, Kale.
Cheers, KL, and cheers, Virat, as well. Akshay, what did you like? Because India, when they resumed yesterday, they were 147 for 2 at 4:40 exactly in the afternoon or evening, whichever part of the world you're at, you'll see that differently. But point being, they scored 209 runs, bro. And what a partnership. In fact, such a good partnership that's India's highest ever in the Asia Cup. Can you believe that?
I mean, not too hard to believe, to be honest. But just coming back to coming to the twin tons that we saw, it's not often you see Kohli's century in the ODI format being overshadowed by someone. I say overshadowed because, of course, Kohli, yeah, played at his fluent best. We know this is his format. But like Nikhil mentioned, I couldn't be happier for KL Rahul. I was one of those who felt that it would be wrong on India's part if they decide to go ahead with Ishan Kishan in the first 11 without giving KL Rahul a proper chance. And I was really happy. I was really happy to see him come good against a quality pace attack. Sure, they might not have had the best of spinners, but Shaheen Afridi, be it Naseem Shah, it was great to see him play so fluently and just showing us why is he rated so highly.
Yeah, it wasn't Pakistan's day out by any stretch of the imagination, especially with Haris Rauf as well, just being kind of kept wrapped in cotton wool before the World Cup, and it all makes sense. But speaking of that partnership, boys, wow, 233, and that is the highest partnership, like I said, for India against Pakistan and ODIs. Correction, I also said in Asia Cup, but against Pakistan and ODIs, these boys have overtaken Sidhu and Sachin, who did it 27 years. And of course, as you can see, the other two over there. Now, speaking of Virat Kohli, he loves Colombo. And like I said, they should really name it Colombo because look at the last four ODI innings. I know it's like spread apart from 2012 to 2023, but he simply loves the RPS in Colombo. So more sumptuous stats available on the website, guys. But right here on the Monday Night Live, we always do things differently. And today, the big hot talking point is the fact that India play a lot of games before the World Cup. Their first game of the World Cup is the 8th of October against Australia at Chennai. But before that, it's almost 9 games from now, including this one, in the next 21 days, if my math serves me right. I'll show you a graphic and then Nix, you can jump in. Is it good that India plays so much cricket before the World Cup, or is it actually something that they can spread their squad around? Take a look at their schedule, first of all, and then tell me your reactions to it.
Yep. As you can see on the screen, you play Pakistan. Tomorrow you play Sri Lanka. I'm expecting three changes there. We'll discuss those. Then, of course, Friday, Sunday, and then there is a plethora of options against Australia. I feel this unit, any which ways, we've talked about them not playing enough games together, but it's going to be a very fine balance between giving them enough games and then giving them games at the right after a right gap. So I think that's where India will want to possibly try out a few options because it's not that you can switch around in any of those games, right? Maybe in Australia series you could play differently as per the decks, but I expect a lot of rest and rotation for everybody who's there in that 15-member squad, and then hopefully everybody holds their stead because every team is going to play these many. It may not be as frequent, but other sides are also going to play a lot of ODIs. South Africa, Australia are going to play three more. You'll have England, New Zealand playing as well. So it's not going to stop for any side. And it's, see, hopefully as long as they don't get injured, it's fine. But we'll have to manage their workload really well.
Yeah, let's see how they go about doing that, Akshay. I want to get your perspective on it as well. Meanwhile, just like this video and subscribe if you guys are new, all you 20, if you're watching on a Monday night. We've been doing 6 of these. This is the 7th, and we're going to be doing 8 gazillion more if we're all well and truly alive, whenever that is. By the way, we'll take the comments as well. Neural Hacks with Pasan saying, first in lies, guys, where are you? Relax, we're right here. And Cricket.com saying, Gurikesh Boti. We'll talk about the CPL, talk about Shreyanka Patil, the women's side of the CPL as well. And of course, Vishal Kulkarni will answer your question of this right now in just a bit, because I'm talking about Indo Pakistan as well. But keep your questions coming through, because at the end of the show, if you guys don't know, we have a segment called The 12th Man, where we answer all your questions and everything that you guys want us to give you some insight on. So Akshay, give us some insight on that graphic that I just depicted and what really strikes your eye there, because I know that Australia is a great litmus test, especially in similar conditions. But then, it's too much cricket, or do you think it's fine? Because these guys anyway need to get their act together as a team, right?
See, personally speaking, there's a very thin line between getting game time and sort of, burning yourself out. And I feel Indian cricketers have crossed that line. And like to sort of quote Joey from Friends, you're so far beyond the line that the line is a small dot to you. I don't know if people get that reference, but it's ridiculous the amount of cricket Indian cricketers have to play. In fact, I remember having this chat a couple of weeks ago with our colleagues here, in the office. India does not have more than a week-long break till the end of next IPL. You're just talking about the next 3 weeks. 4 days after the World Cup finals, India plays Australia in a 5 T20I series. 7 days after that, India go to South Africa for a 1-month tour. 4 days after that, they play Afghanistan. 4 days again after that, India play England. And 7 days after that is WPL and then IPL. Sorry, my bad. India will have a 2-week break after the India-England series. So for the
that's so good.
Months,
yeah, that's so
But still,
exactly.
kudos to Akshay to call that and also remember all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I remember it because it means I'll also have that much work. We also have to understand. Unfortunately, as much as I care for the Indian team, I also care about my well-being. And it's ridiculous. Like, if I'm worried about the amount of work I'll have to do, which is practically nothing compared to what they'll have to do on the field. So yeah, it's really, really sort of ridiculous. I know India-Australia series would be a great litmus test, like Avnish said. I know it'll sort of help us, fine-tune our 11, understand what we need to do, how we need to go about it, and all of that. But yeah, man, there's only so much you can do by playing, and this is it's just too much cricket according to me.
Yeah, I think just to add to that,
Go on.
the one thing that I'm sure we will see, hopefully, and that's in positive frame of mind, that you will see separate pools post this World Cup.
Yeah.
Once that happens, I think this could be made a lot more easier for everybody involved. Not us. I don't want a replacement, but the fact that the players can have separate pools and then you can rotate among that pool, that will just help land better. We talked a lot about this ODI side not playing together. One of the reasons was you had so many T20s that you did not play enough ODIs together. And when you played, you wanted to rest your main guys. So once that pool is separated, you'll get the same guys playing the same format, hopefully enough times, so that you are building up to the next one very well.
I agree with Nick there, and I was just going to mention that. I think even though it looks on paper a lot of cricket, I'd still want, Rahul, Kohli, all just to kind of be well-oiled is the term that they often use in sport. Maybe I would also say just polish off whatever they need to polish off, right? Because obviously it's a big tournament. There'll be a lot of pressure. They could just use these games to play their brand of cricket. We saw it, of course, in this innings. I don't know if that's going to continue. Hope it does. But if you see this Indian team play to their potential, guys, it's frightening. It's honestly frightening. So let's just talk about that a little bit more before I give you an update on the India-Pakistan. There is rain there by the looks of things, not just because of the people telling us in the comments. Thanks, Mama, as well, who's spotted that out. But also, go on, Akshay, go on.
Sorry, just to add to what you said about you wanting Kohli, the likes of Kohli and Rahul to be well oiled, we also need to understand that it's not the likes of Kohli, Rahul, Rohit who get burnt out, because they have the liberty to take rest whenever they want. We saw that in the West Indies series when they were going to play two consecutive games when they were going to play games on consecutive days. Kohli and Rohit don't have to worry about their spot; they're secure. I'm talking about the likes of Siraj, the likes of Pandya, the likes of Jadeja, the likes of people who have to sort of play for their spot. It's they invariably who get overburdened. Kohli, sure, he can sort of take rest whenever he wants, and no one would bat an eyelid. So that's where I feel it's really harsh on sort of players who aren't sure of whether they'll be a part of the next 11 or not. It's them who sort of have to bear the brunt of it.
Okay, Nick, just your thoughts on India generally, right? If you look at them playing to their potential, there's some team.
They've always been that since a decade. The only problem has been getting them at the right time in the right place and then backing them to come good with the same conviction. I think India's problem on the big days has been that lack of conviction in their own plans, in their own players. So hopefully that's not the case. I think this ODI World Cup is hopefully a start of a series of trophies that India can win, because they've always had the talent. It's just about using them to their potential and getting the right guys in at the right time.
Okay, let's see how that moves on. I'm backing India to, of course, do great things in this ODI World Cup. Genuinely feel that way, and I have a strong vibe right now. Of course, Pakistan versus India, just go down and get it. Sorry. I just
And yeah, just to be clear, you might have a strong vibe, but you also seem to have a bright smile. We just can't. We
Stop
can't
it.
not address.
Stop it. Oh my God. Hey, Avnish, a captivating smile adds a little more brightness to my day, especially after India's fantastic performance in the innings. So, Hangi, I don't know who you are, but great. Honest to God. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate it. Positive vibes on a Monday. That's what we need in our life.
Yeah.
And I hope you're doing well on a Monday as well. Keep the comments coming through. All
And
you
so
other
on, we
people as
hope
well.
you've received the payment on GPay. Just make sure, just cross
Yeah.
check.
I was just about to say there might be a few texts also that might have to be done. Pre and post calls.
What? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Essentially, it's happening all right on a Monday Night Live. Guys, I want to, of course, also talk about the rest of the World Cup squads, what we've seen today with New Zealand and all of that. But just to finish up this India-Pakistan chat, right? What do you think is going to happen at the end of this Super Fours? Do you think India can actually beat all of them? Because I'm just looking ahead till the next Monday Night Live at least. What will we be talking about? Will we be talking about India winning the Asia Cup? Do you think it'll be a different story, basing it on the evidence of this match, Nikhil?
See, I think it will be taking most boxes. They ticked one versus Nepal. They ticked one versus Pakistan with Kishan and Hardik Stan. They tick one very big, unwanted, unnecessary, criticized box with KL Rahul. And that's what I think we'll talk about. We'll probably talk about the changes that they made in the Sri Lanka game, and then the next game that okay, Prasidh got a chance, and this is how he worked out. And then Shami got a chance, and this is how he worked out. How many overs Bumrah bowled, how well Siraj bowled. So I think more than the results, because I don't think rain will allow a lot of results. I'm looking at more smaller processes being done right, so that India are able to go into that Australia series where I hope a lot of runs are scored, so that then you are used to a lot of different conditions. Like in West Indies, they were a different set of conditions. In Sri Lanka, they've been a different set of conditions. When you play in India, it should be how you will face in the World Cup. So you now had enough experience of different kinds of surfaces, and you've seen your plans and how they've come through. So I think in that sense, India might be in a better place to be. Hopefully, as I said, my only worry is injuries. As long as everybody's fit and fine, this is as good as it can get.
Okay. And Akshay, if they play the way that they did today and bowl in the first 5-6 overs that they bowled and shown why Bumrah and Siraj are such good exponents in ODI cricket, how far could they go? Early ODI World Cup prediction. How far could they go?
They can go really far. I know Avnish is probably trying to, probe further and get some cheeky answer out of me, but I'll
Because
have to
you're
be
the
honest.
anti-nationalist, man. If you tell me
Wow.
final, they're winning the goddamn competition.
Yeah, I'll play to my strengths. Yeah, I guess instead of Akshay Kumar Swamy, I should just have anti-national written there. But I mean, see, make no mistake. I'd be foolish if I said the Indian team doesn't stand a chance. based on skill and potential alone, they really, really should be making the semis. Like, I'd be disappointed. As much as I'd love to see someone else take the cup, I'd be really disappointed if India don't even make the semis. And it's so heartening to see the likes of Rahul, Kohli, all of them get runs under their belt going into the World Cup. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason why I don't see India potentially even lifting the World Cup on the 19th of November.
Oh, I love to hear that. It just sounds good. It just sounds good. It makes me feel all right on a Monday. By the way, Vishal, Neural Hacks, Vasant, all you guys ask here is a very pertinent question in the comments, which I'll address right now because it's just happened and I want to get the boys' thoughts of it. See, when India did the unthinkable yesterday by putting Ishan Kishan's name as a wicketkeeper, I think it was genuinely a mistake. I honestly thought the way KL was prepping and they were showing visuals prior to the toss about his keeping and how he's done so much work at the NCA about his keeping, he was always going to be India's number one wicketkeeper choice. And it wasn't just going to be Ishan Kishan because of his certain form. Did you guys think that as well? Or were you actually holding your breath for this innings to start to see who was there?
I think the team sheet did tell you that Kishan would keep, so I was expecting that. So when he came in and he kept, again, it wasn't a surprise because KL also batted a lot of time. He batted 2 days to get a century, so obviously he'll be tired in that sense as well. So no calms there in terms of giving him enough time, but you want to see more of KL in terms of keeping and the fitness in that sense. So I think that's what they'll probably do. I'm not sure how much the back spasm is going to extend or vanish by tomorrow, because then you are also playing Sri Lanka tomorrow. So I'm expecting it to get well, but again, we'll only be guessing there. So as much as you can see of him, it is good for India to see how that goes. And the key point here is to know that fine line between pushing someone and really testing them out. So if at all there is a moment where KL says that okay, maybe I need to go off, the fact that you have a Kishan ready is good. So that open communication has to be there, like we expected to have happened with Shreyas, that he complained of a problem and they were quick to address it. So I think that's all that I'm going to hope, that everybody's aware of what's being done. That absolute clarity has to be there.
The clarity is there, and that's why even you guys just praised KL's batting today. If he can get that KL Rahul in the World Cup, boy, we're set for a good show. Akshay, I'll just come to you. Santosh Shirpa saying India playing in Mumbai for semi-final will not be easy if England and Australia are opponents, especially if they're defending, he goes on to say. But what do you make about Rahul being a lock at 5, right? Obviously the best choice, the inevitable choice, or am I completely speaking out of my backside?
Like, I'm just trying to process all of this the amount of backflips people do when it comes to having an opinion and not. I'm not talking about Avnish in general.
Thank God for that disclaimer.
Yeah. Like just up until a week ago, everyone were going gaga over Ishan Kishan. Arey, Kishan ko to khelna hi chahiye. Arey, left-hander hai, wicket keeper hai. Yes. Like I would have genuinely been upset, like more than anything, had India decided to go ahead with Ishan Kishan without really giving Rahul a chance. Like more than being happy, he deserved it, man. It like when he when he played for India, he was definitely a sort of a must-have choice. Sorry, I'm sort of at short of words right now. I'm just looking at so many messages popping in. Sorry, but yeah, for me personally, Rahul really had to make it. It's as simple as that. And yeah, runs were always going to come in, especially given that India will now be playing at a home World Cup. And Rahul also, for me, I personally get the vibe that Rahul, just like Kohli, has a penchant for the ODI format. It is his ideal format. The way he plays, he's also modeled his play around Kohli, after Kohli rather, where he takes his time and then accelerates. So that's perfect. That's perfect for ODI cricket. So yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no reason why Rahul shouldn't have been a lock-in in the first place. If anything, my question is to all the people, including Gambhir. Like, it was so ridiculous to see. हमने याद है, again, I'll have to just make the same point again. आपको दुग्गल साहब याद है ना? पिछले हफ्ते किशन के फैन बन के आए थे, इस हफ्ते केएल के फैन बन के आए हैं, बस. That's it.
See, he's the perfect Indian cricket fan.
He's, I don't know. I check it. There's no point.
But one thing about KL, in all honesty, guys, I know he gets that tag with Minnow bashers and all of that, but today he's really silenced his critics like Neural Hacks and Pranav Anand going on to say. And just before I forget, please like this video right now and give us
Yeah.
a shout out in terms of generally word of mouth, spreading awareness about cricket.com, because we built one hell of a community thanks to you guys, the regular folks who join in. We love them. Pranavana and Santosh Udupa, human being. There were so many old friends of ours who probably returned to the channel because they love the watch alongs, and those are the USPs. But we'll do a watch along shortly. Speaking of which, the Asiad games will start, and we'll definitely do the India Pakistan encounters for that. So you guys can bug us in the comments for sure. Right. Before I move on from this India chat, let alone Asia Cup, the final thing that I want to ask you guys in this Monday Night Live is the whole India Pakistan chat. I know it's kind of bellowing out quite a bit on Twitter about people saying they should play bilaterals. Yaar, had hoti hai. Where do you guys just stand on it? Is individuals, is Indians? How do you see it? Do we sit with a political lens and be like, no, ye hua hai, wo hua hai, Pulwama, Uri, and we really say nothing to Pakistan? Or do we just use sport? No, let's be honest, because everyone you ask, even in terms of the streets, right? They'll be like, are you mad? No chance. For like, what, 150 over game, 9 hours, you guys want to, like, engage with the enemy? I don't know. I don't see it that way. I think sport is better to bring nations together. But where do you guys sit? Let's just be honest and clear it out today. Akshay, you go first.
As the anti-national, I'm expected to go first.
Exactly.
That's not even, yeah. But yeah, I agree with Avnish. And for me, see, it's simple. I'm all for, having gray area and sort of, having a nuanced approach everywhere else. But when it comes to diplomacy, if your approach is that, we'll boycott Pakistan everywhere, sure, then boycott them everywhere unanimously. You can't bloody hell play them as you wish, where you want, when you want, and then decide not to play bilateral series at neutral venues. Sure, by no means am I discrediting what the Indian armed forces go through and what they've done and all of that. मैं नहीं कह रहा कि सियाचिन में हमारे जवान नहीं लड़ रहे हैं, पता है. तो अगर आपको उनके बारे में इतनी ही फिक्र है तो खेलना बंद करो ना भाई. ये क्या कि हम श्रीलंका में आईसीसी टूर्नामेंट होगा तो खेलेंगे, इंडिया में आईसीसी टूर्नामेंट होगा तो खेलेंगे, पाकिस्तान नहीं जाएंगे, पाकिस्तान होस्ट कर रहा है तो हम कहीं पे भी कुछ नहीं. मत करो ना ये. Like people like us
does
have
it,
been
so does it
scammed.
just come down to them being greedy in terms of the broadcast money, and because they can kind of run it under the ACC ambit and the ICC ambit and not have BCCI kind of be involved, they
That's
can get away
always
with
been
it,
the
right?
case. That's always been the case. The point
So
was
then
always about money.
they're anyway removing political sentiment from that by playing them, by agreeing to play them.
That's in multinational tournaments. But my point is, as BCCI, what is your approach? Of course, as ACC, Jaisha is doing something fine, but as BCCI's head, as their president, if your approach is that we won't play Pakistan due to security concerns in Pakistan, fair, understood. Invite them to India. अगर आपको उससे भी डर लगता है तो खेलो ना. दुबई है ना. दुबई नहीं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जाओ. इंग्लैंड में जाओ.
Or bring back good old Sharjah.
100%. I'd love to see Virat versus Shaheen, Rohit versus Shaheen, red ball contests, man. We've been starved for such contests. And I'm pretty sure, पैसों की अगर आपको इतनी पड़ी है ना, I'm 100% sure we'll have sold out crowds for India-Pakistan test games. Sold out crowds. Make no mistake. Nikhil is very silent. I don't know. Like,
Nick, I just want to ask you, because look, you're also of that kind of generation where you saw a lot of India-Pakistan, then Kargil happened, then of course just ICC tournaments, then we got back playing bilaterals. We went in 2006 and 7 it was. Of course, we went 03, 04 as well. Then they came at 2012, which is the last time they played. How do you sit on this? And talk to me. I mean, just as a cricket fan, does it hurt you that we don't play them much, or do you understand why?
See, I understand why. And it's like they've suddenly found a middle ground where they feel there are things that we are doing to isolate them otherwise. So you can't go ahead and tell them that let's play bilaterals. But what they also realize is, because they can't do that, they know every chance that you get to play them in multinational tournaments, you get to milk that fixture as much as you want. There is a reason why this India-Pakistan game had a reserve day. So they're actually playing to both sides in terms of not playing them bilateral. So that section is fine with it. And then you are playing with them in bilaterals and otherwise, and then you're keeping that section happy as well. So eventually they're trying to please both people, and eventually the point is to make more money, which is something that they're doing. I would ideally love to see just that in terms of that fairness being applied to every other side. That And this is in relation to what's being done for this Asia Cup, that just having a reserve day for India Pakistan, that's not fair. It's not fair to the other sides. And please don't make it that obvious. I think we all know it. It's not like a hidden secret now. Everybody knows it. Nobody talks about it because everybody has things to look out for. But just don't make it so obvious that it gets called out even more. Because I don't think there is a straight solution to it. I don't see them playing bilaterals, which is fine. And I see these two teams getting into multinational tournaments in the same group every single time because they can play to that sentiment even more. So this has just been, I don't know, well set up, that this is how it can continue. Because if you also play bilaterals, then this thing will not get the attention that it does. Now, the reason why all these multinational games or multinational tournament games also you get to hype is because you don't get to see them otherwise. So that angle is also there, that if they make it, if they, and the thing is, the thing that hasn't worked for them is there is an ICC tournament every year. So you are effectively playing them in one or the two format every year in an ICC event, apart from the World Test Championship. So play them in the World Test Championship also at a neutral venue. Just add to the drama, and as Akshay said, you are always going to get crowds. Just give it enough justice in all formats, and that's all.
But Akshay, we've seen two cycles of the WTC. Is it just sheer fate that they haven't kind of played each other, or ICC are purposely saying that they were not going to group them and they're not going to draw? How does it work?
I mean, it's not entirely ICC's call, right? Like FTP is made by taking all boards' requests and preferences into consideration. It's not like ICC sits by itself and does and prepare the schedule for a WTC cycle. And before I sort of go into what you said, just to add to what Nick said, even I understand why this is happening, but that doesn't mean I agree with it. But I understand, fine. And just one more thing is, ठीक है भाई, security concerns hai. Can you tell me what's the concern? What's the security concern with having, say, Pakistan players playing in the IPL? For example, वहां पे क्या चल रहा है? What's the scene? अपने ही ग्राउंड्स है, सिक्योरिटी अपना है, प्लेयर्स खिलाने में आपको क्या दिक्कत है? अगर उनको बाहर खेल सकते हो, that's another point to consider, right? Which is why I don't understand, like, it's and on top of that, the sheer blatant abuse of power in the Asia Cup, like Nikhil mentioned, you cannot make this so obvious. It's not like we didn't know this before. It's not like we weren't aware ki India Pakistan.
No, I understand that sentiment. But what if you agree with Akhil Nair? He's saying there is plenty of money to be made in India versus Pakistan encounters. I'm gonna ignore the other bit of it. But this current ruling setup won't risk triggering the vote bank. It also makes you think generally in sport, right? We play Pakistan in the Olympics. We play them right now, even in the Asia Games.
Exactly. Now look at Ukraine. Look at Russia. Ukraine boycotts Russia. Look at historically. Look, in the 1980 Olympics, US boycotted the Russia Olympics. I mean, Moscow Olympics. I'm not sure. 80
as well. Palestine as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take a clear stance, ना. Boycott करो ना. अगर आपको करना है तो दम होना चाहिए भाई. You can't simply, again.
Even in cricketing historic examples, Zimbabwe, England in the 2003 World Cup, because of that whole sort of feud.
Yeah. England didn't play any of their matches in Zimbabwe, which is not pretty much, but was one of the major reasons why Kenya ended up making it to the final semis. England, New Zealand, and one more country refused to play matches in Zimbabwe.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll basically have this chat at some point of time in the future, 100%, because I can envisage it. And like the boys said, like, it's a cricketing dream for every world cricket fan out there to see those boys play, not just in the white ball formats, but in the red ball formats. So India, Pakistan, really hoping that test is around the corner at some point in time in the future. Keep your comments coming through. More than happy to take them. Let's move on to the segment that we all love chatting about on a Monday Night Live. And it is, of course, where is it? Can't find it. Cannot find it. Here it is. Right, best of the rest is basically Akshay, Nikhil, and I kind of shedding light on everything which has gone by in the week of cricket. We're going to be talking about the New Zealand squad in just a bit, as well as the CPL, Shreyanka Patil, and whatnot. But I'm just going to use this opportunity to, of course, just show you our lovely newsletter, which normally comes out on a Monday as well. I hope you guys can see the screen. and it shows that not that we just have a cool interface, but we have lots of things to see. Go check out this video as well, Virat Kohli and Team India, and how he's nutmegging a certain dog over there. There are also some fascinating interviews as well. Now, speaking of the newsletter, sorry, this is just going super fast. My bad. This is Vaibhav's mouse. Yeah, so this is the newsletter that we do. This is the one which is on the September 11th edition, and it just goes to show lots of things which is happening, which we'll talk about. De Kock's announced his retirement, of course, post the World Cup. He will call it a day in the 50-over format. And then the major talking points has to be all the World Cup squads. We spoke about Australia, South Africa last time. We'll speak about Australia a little bit more of what they've done in South Africa, but we want to talk about this right now, New Zealand's squad, and we'll begin the best of rest from there, guys. Right, so let's have it. The New Zealand squad. Big news. I don't know whether they were picking or having a recency bias, Knicks. Finn Allen, David Villey did him, and then he got the call saying you're not going to be traveling to India. But what else do you make of this squad? And do you like it?
I think it is pretty much the expected squad. I don't. The best bet is the name up top coming back into into the squad, and of course, kudos to New Zealand cricket for announcing the squad in a very good way. South Africa did this a year back, I think, and then New Zealand just followed it up very very well. So yes, the squad announcement was really heartwarming. The thing with New Zealand is they just you'd never write them off because they just find a way on their day. And
Find a way, and they've been in how many semi-finals? Yeah, every time I keep looking back, they've been there, they've been there, they've been there. 99, I don't think they made it. 2003, did they make it? No, I don't think they were there.
No. 3 they didn't. 3 they weren't there. 7 they were there. 11 they were there. 15, 19
there.
they were in the finals.
And 92 they were there as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
go on, Nick. I mean, just talk to me about those names as well, Nikhil, and tell me if there are any strengths and weaknesses you feel, obvious ones.
The second name, Dharamshala, let's not talk about that game at all.
Jeez.
Chapman, I'm sure. Chapman, Conway are two people who I think are going to be massively important for them, along with Tom Latham, because these three other guys who I feel on paper play spin really well. And Conway and Latham, with their experience in India, I mean, nobody can forget Tom Latham just sweeping Kuldeep and Chahal for fun. So I think that experience is going to have them very, very handy. The pain point which I feel sometimes they've been let down at times is that middle order and the options that they get with Daryl Mitchell, Nisham, Glenn Phillips. Now they've been in form. Mitchell is the England expert for sure because I think he just loves to play in that country. Whenever you see him play a longer format in England, he's always scoring. Even yesterday, he scored a very good 50 there. So I think if Mitchell, Phillips can come good with the bat, and then Phillips is someone that you can use with the ball as well. They've done that in the past. So that then gives them that good depth because there is no Braithwaite, who I think is a big miss because then he's someone who can bowl at different stages and also gives you a very floating option that you can play anywhere in the lineup. So I think in that sense they have enough spin depth as well. Ravindra got a few good games versus England. Santner's form hasn't been that great, but it's you can rely on Santner to keep it tight, but they'll need consistency from Ferguson and Isodi. I think for long, it's always been Trent Bolt early, Tim Southee keeping it tight. But then the first change, Matt Henry, if he's able to do well, somehow you find runs versus Sodi or versus Lockie Ferguson. So I think that combination is what they'll want to get right, which is where the form of the all-rounders becomes crucial. So I think they have a lot of things, and with New Zealand, it's not always individuals; it's how they hit together. That is one of their strengths. That they just tactically they are probably one of the better prepared sides. So looking forward to them having a good time once again.
They're brilliant. And Akshay, before I come to you, I'll just address some of the comments pertaining to the Black Caps because Santosh Urba says, didn't see Kane Williamson inclusion coming. Bolt being a threat is always. I can just close my eyes and like Nick said, Dharamshala, he just have us on jam, which is sad. And sports fan, yeah, I did see that announcement video. There was also one more comment that Santosh Urba said. He says Bracewell is a big miss, sports fan. Santosh Urba also went on to say, Akshay, why are they keeping a certain coach in their squad? And Bracewell was also injured recently, right? Answer those two questions. And also, where do you think New Zealand will finish? I know it's the obvious question to ask you, but again, another semi-final just slipping under the radar.
When you said two questions, I actually don't know. Like there were plenty of questions. But to begin with, when it comes to coach, I'm guessing the dig was at is Sodi. I'm trying to think, was there any other member
Sodi.
of a coaching staff? Yeah. But Bracewell was injured not recently. Yeah, it's been a while. He was injured in June, if I'm not wrong, because he had to miss the 100 because of, like, he had to back out of the 100 because of his injury and the MLC as well. He was supposed to be a part of both the tournaments and ended up missing both of them. Apart from that, yeah, I was surprised seeing Rachin Ravindra's name. I'm guessing he is in only because of Bracewell's injury. I'm not sure if he would have made the squad also. Barring that, yeah, fairly obvious, fairly settled lineup. It'll be interesting to see how Williamson fits in. Like in terms of actual match day performances, if he's able to sort of replicate his form from what it was, say, 6-7 months ago. Barring that, yeah, man, it's fairly settled, a very boring Kiwi-esque lineup. Not like you don't see this and say, oh yeah, this like Finn Allen was probably that one name you'd probably think of, and of course they've decided to not include him. So yeah, and in terms of where would they end this World Cup, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure because they play a couple of games in Dharamshala, including one against Australia. That'll be very, very, very spicy.
Do you agree with
Both
Neural
teams,
Hacks, Vasant?
not sure, man, because Pakistan's good, England's good, Australia's good, and so South Africa, according to me, are dark horses. You just don't know if Maharaj, gets into his groove. Abhi injury se aaya hai, so it'll still take him some time. I won't look too much into his performances against Australia so far, but yeah, so I would consider them. I would place them above New Zealand if that makes sense.
Okay, New Zealand, of course, are a tournament team, like Nick says, and they just play together and it all
True.
works for them. And hopefully, from their perspective, they go on to do good things. By the way, New Zealand yesterday against England, they had them 55 for 5, and then England winning. And even England's ODI team will play some breathtaking cricket. You just get that. But I want to talk about the other bilateral series, which is happening in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm talking about South Africa versus Australia. I think the third ODI is on 4:30 tomorrow, IST.
Yeah.
I think it's Potchefstroom. I might be wrong. But point being, Marnus Labuschagne again. ODI concussion, test concussion. I don't know if he's going to have a T20 concussion. I mean, it's brilliant, right? And we saw, I think, I follow him on Twitter and Insta, and he put out these kind of videos when he was dropped from the initial ODI squad saying, what have I done wrong kind of thing, like a dig. And then there he was just waiting in the wings. It happened to Cam Green, and he just scored an 80, brilliant. And then he followed it up with a 124. But point being, Nikhil Popat, are Australia bossing it or what?
Yeah, this is showing off at this point of time. It's see, the thing is, they've always been a side who just finds a way to, I don't know, maybe plan better for World Cup, yes, because suddenly everybody's fit. Suddenly everybody's always available for them for the World Cup, which is a good thing as a unit. But you see the number of all-round options that they have in Marcus Stoinis, Cam Green, Mitchell Marsh. These three on their day can win you games with either bat or ball. Now, Cam Green may not be tested as much, but the other two, and the thing is, it's their usage. They just find, and there is Sean Abbott who scored a 34 ball 100 in that
Yeah.
last game. I mean,
T20.
T20 games. So there is so much depth, and you can use them very smartly. That okay, if you
Yeah.
feel there is movement, maybe you can use Stoinis and Sean Abbott in that game, not bowl Mitch Marsh at all. If you feel it's an uneven test, maybe then you use two people differently. You use Cam Green in that game. So I think that that I don't know what the word is, but they just seem to find enough depth in terms of options on paper. Where I think they will still be tested is what happened in the first ODI, where you saw that South Africa had them on the mat, but they kept playing shots. So I think that is something that I'm very keen to see if they continue to be on that line, that
Hmm.
everybody was playing shots at every point of time. So while it allowed a concussed Manas Labuschagne to come in just at the right time for him to get in, just play some timeout and then go on and close the game out. But are they going to stick to it? Not too sure about it because there will be a certain Steve Smith coming in. So, and there were talks before the series of Smith being very aggressive. So again, there is something to look out for in the India Australia series, because then they don't have a place to fit Marnus. And to be honest, he was dropped from the side for all the right reasons. He hasn't had a great record. And the thing is, the options that they have apart from him, they are giving you multi-dimensional options, and they are all who have a, I wouldn't say higher ceiling, but they are potential game changers on their day. So, uh, as Santosh says, he was modest in feeling that maybe because of the approach, they felt that ये अब हमारे टीम में fit नहीं बैठ रहा है maybe, but keen to see. It's always a good thing to have a guy in form. So in that sense, they'll always be happier that if some one of the all-rounders pulls up, they already have 7 the bowling options. एक option कम हो जाएगा उसमें tension नहीं, but if you get a guy in form, it will just add to the good headache that they will want to have.
Absolutely, and I just think that sets up a really good precursor for the World Cup as well. That India playing Australia. Travis Head has just been sensational at the top, and I know that what David Warner can do, but he's just been the catalyst there, almost giving them a head start, pun intended. Akshay, just talk to me about Australia right now and what they can really lay down as a statement for the rest of the world watching in the South Africa series. 392 batting first. You're going to get similar belters in the World Cup. Do you think they can actually go out there and do what England were doing, going mad in that pre-2019 World Cup time, and emulate them?
Sorry, but at the risk of playing, the devil's advocate here, they've been fantastic. Make no mistake. I've loved watching those ODIs. In fact, I've been following them a lot more keenly than even the Asia Cup. The Australia-South Africa series.
Okay.
But I just want to take these results and these performances with a pinch of salt, given the conditions. Indian subcontinent rather, the conditions that will be on offer are going to be like a lot different. It's almost diametrically opposite to what's on offer in South Africa. And which is why I just don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'd love to see them, just go this way. Like, how often would you see a side 18 overs, 130 for 7 and still going at it? कि जो होगा देखा जाएगा, हम तो करेंगे भाई. And it's great to see that. I love intent. I love using the word intent as well. So yeah, I'm happy to see that. And in terms of happy headaches, I remember Andrew McDonald and the likes, and even George Bailey for that matter, just a couple of weeks ago talking about, David Warner would probably come in at number 4 and all of that. Now I want to know what's actually going to happen, because Marsh in the Indian subcontinent adds most value only at the top. Because middle overs में spinners आ जाएंगे, conditions थोड़ा और धीमे हो जाएगा, field restrictions आ जाएंगे, field restrictions would be lifted, so lofting it becomes difficult and all of that. And he'll invariably become, I wouldn't say a walking wicket, but he'll find it a lot more difficult. Warner now has scored a century in the second ODI at the top. So I really want to know how are they looking at this? How are they looking at the World Cup? And yeah, like Nikhil mentioned, I'm really looking forward to the India-Australia series from an Australia POV, not an India POV, because India pretty much are settled, barring, say, Iyer or Kishan and all of that. They pretty much know their 11, at least for the first game. So yeah, I mean it's been interesting to watch Australia, though. I didn't see it coming, because Australia also have always... I mean, you've always seen them a certain way, and they've played a certain brand of cricket. I didn't see them being this aggressive, being this sort of intent heavy. So it's great to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, in fact, Mayur going on to say it's even better. Watch Mark Nicholas' commentary with just Nostalgia Cricket 07. Mayur, give this video a quick like, please, and tell all your friends to join you and see your comments and how we're interacting with you. Ask them to interact with us as well. It's a growing community. Pranav Anand, in fact, going to see Logic PN batting like it's a T20 game in the first power play. On a slow pitch, they played like that and lost wickets. On a belter, they got the result. They do know how that the ball will go very soft after 30 overs. I just think now teams are breaking 50-over cricket into 2 T20 games. Pretty much want to serve and conserve wickets a little bit and get to about 150 in 20 overs. And then the last 30 overs probably get to around 250. Try for 250. I know it's obviously wishful thinking. Just to close up on this Australia chat, boys. Doodle Hacks with us and saying Head is the X factor for Australia this World Cup alongside Zampa. And that'll be scary to see them in Chennai in the game 1. And Santosh Shilpa going on to say, need Maxwell come and start the major game time before the World Cup. Do you agree with this, Nix? Because all of them have been playing a lot of cricket, and plus they know India so well. So do they really need game time or not?
See, they do. As much as we talked about India, if you see every team, even if it's New Zealand with Kane Williamson, you will need some game time in that role before you get the before you hit the tournament running.
Hmm.
And the point about the all-rounders is that is why having so many all-rounders helps that you look at those first four bowling options: Josh Hedwell, Mitchell Stark, Pat Cummins, Adam Zampa. These four guys are a lock.
Yeah.
These four are, you're not going to see them not play. Now, if you have these four with those four all-rounders, it gives you a lot of options to work around with on that given day. As Akshay said, if the conditions are such, as I just said just a while back, if you feel that you need two spinners, you play Aston Agar and drop one of the all-rounders. So just having those options helps, and here you're not looking at them like a 5-6 over bowlers. It is something that you'll try. If they work, they bowl more. If they don't, at least the main guys get some time off, and then they can figure it out and come back. Which is
But do
why,
they know the 11? Do they know the 11? Can we second guess the 11?
see, I think it should mostly be the prime time guys in terms of that order, because say if we are thinking out loud, it should be Head and Warner to open. Then you have Smith at first drop. Now whether the point about Mitch Marsh stays or they push Smith to four, that is something to look out for. Whether Warner comes to four, I don't think that should happen. But that's where the thing is very open, because then you can't guess the middle order entirely, because the
Yeah.
entire order will change as per the strengths of the middle, because English is playing in the middle overs so that he can counter spin a bit better. Now,
Yeah.
if they completely switch it with Warner, then things should change. So it's just that bowling that the four names that we talked, and the top four, they should definitely play. And the rest, I think, will probably be, they'll not rotate with all four, but maybe just two of them will go, as opposed to just Maxwell playing every game depending on fitness. Same is the case with Marsh. The problem is fitness here, because Marsh, Cam Green, Stoinis, Maxwell, we've seen them get injured at times, and it's taken a long time for them to come back out fit. So that's the only worry in that sense, that if two, three of them go down, then you will not have a ready backup. So very keen to see how they, which is why the Australia POV of the India series is critical to see what their plans are and how they are shaping up.
You're absolutely right, because there's so much you can tell only in South Africa compared to India. And I think that three ODIs, where Akshay will probably be doing all of that. I think I'll be taking a break for that ODI series because it's my birthday, lads. Turning 31, no biggie, but still don't put nazar and all, guys. Just chilling. Anyway, let's move on and talk about other things in T20 cricket, and especially the CPL, because there's a lot of fun things happening. I'll start off by what I saw on Instagram. It was that strange run out between Kieran Pollard and Nicholas Purin. Pollard, I thought initially was going to be the one staying in the crease, but then no, he didn't forget to just drop his bat there. So Nicholas Purin saw that. I mean, survived, and I don't know if you guys saw that. But what else has been happening in terms of the CPL, boys? What caught your eye, Nikhil Popat?
Yeah, in that game, I actually expected somebody to just put that Wasim and Nizma run out. Arey bhai, aap yahan? If that was done, it would have been crazy. Following you, yeah? What's the thing? Yeah, well, it would have been ideal to see. And actually, it is only because it had Pollard and Puran involved that you did not see anything come out.
Yeah.
Because had this been two different individuals, I'm sure we would have seen a lot more animated discussion happening there. But of course, the century is something that definitely caught the eye of so many people, and rightly so. Puran has had a horrible time for TKR. So those numbers were corrected there. Stat padding nahi thi wo. It was a very good knock. And the thing with Nicky Pace, he's someone who we've seen for a long time, even before it became mainstream to back him. So in that sense, very, very happy for him. I'm not going to talk about the game where Gutukesh Moti opened the batting, bowled the last over, and Carlos Brathwaite took 4 wickets. It is beyond me. I'm not going to talk about that game. Sorry.
And Carlos Brathwaite came into this tournament for replacement for whom?
No, he was a part of the squad.
No,
I
he
don't
was a
think he came in.
replacement. He was a replacement for someone, bro. I read it somewhere,
So
and it was just pretty
I
sad.
haven't been catching the morning games. It's only the 7:30 games that I'm able to watch more live. But yeah, that game was forgettable.
And we
I mean,
believe you,
Nikhil-
Nikhil.
yeah.
We believe you. Because the
Nikhil
amount of
can't-
cricket that man consumes is ridiculous.
That's
By
true,
the way,
that's true.
you've been keeping a keen eye as well, Akshay, on the CPL, but not the men's side of thing, the women's side of thing, because of Shreyanka Patil and what she's done in the tournament was just brilliant. First of all, talk to me about these numbers. Even though 5 games, she did really ply her trade well. What really impresses you about this girl, apart from the fact that she plays for RCB?
Apart from the fact that she plays for RCB, wow,
Yeah,
wow,
obviously.
way to be subtle. Nah, but what really impressed me was her ability to sort of adapt and come back. Like 5 games, I mean, on surface level, these numbers look really good, but I don't think Avnish would also know. But her first game, her first outing in the WCPL, saw her go for 47 runs in her 4 overs. She went wicketless, and I genuinely thought that okay, I'm guessing this is the end of the tournament for her. She will be replaced. But to see her come back with a 4 and then to end the tournament as the highest wicket taker, this goes out to show the kind of temperament she has, and it's so good, so good to see her come good for a foreign franchise. And it just hurts me that much more that she's not a part of the Indian setup even for the Asian Games.
Yeah.
Like let alone the Bangladesh series, वो तो गया ठीक है कुछ हो गया. How do you still not include her? It's stupid, but yeah, Shreyanka Patil, just really happy. I mean, not just as an RCB fan, just as an Indian cricket fan. See, Avnish, see, sometimes once in a while, even I can call
I
myself.
stopped listening when you said Indian cricket fan because I know you were lying, so I just tuned
Yeah.
out.
All right. Actually, to be clear, I'm
Just
more
saying
of
for
an
the
Indian.
camera.
No,
Exactly.
paying lip service,
Exactly.
but no, I'm
Yeah.
I'm more of an Indian women's cricket fan than Indian men's cricket fan, if that makes sense. I'd probably put it that way.
Okay, then quickly speaking about the Indian women's cricket team, Nick, where does Shriyanka Patil fit into this Indian jigsaw in the grandest scheme of things? I know we've always been a spin heavy team and we've had so many left arm spinners, but it's good to see a nice offie.
You always one of those offies are my is one of my favorite players to play for India, and I wouldn't mind if she replaces her
Hmm.
uh, because I feel there is potential there. And Dipti's been very smart for a long time now, but there will be a time where you'll want to move on and find better options, better spots. So that's where I think Shreyanka Patil, hopefully the WPL will help in that sense as well, because invariably, fortunately, unfortunately, if you do well there, even though it did not work for Saika Ishak and others, hopefully it will for Shreyanka Patil in that sense. And again, she'll be under the captain, different captain, maybe that could work out for her. So there are options, but the thing with Indian that setup is there have been a lot of pacers who've just gone out of the system for no reason at all, and you don't quite know why Veshika Pandit did not play the last series,
Yeah.
and the selections for the Bangladesh series as well. So, not murky waters, but a lot of things to address in that sense. So, hopefully, the next World Cup is going to be in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to rule out Shreyanka Patil. Early call, Shreyanka Patil being India's highest wicket taker. Cheers.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Akshay, you
And
mentioned one thing, the fact that you're kind of surprised that she's not made the Indian squad. Is it a reason why what Nikhil said right now? Because Dipti Sharma is still there. And do they see her as a potential kind of replacement in that regard?
bhai, Deepti Sharma, I mean, again, bowling wise, yeah, but we're forgetting the batting value that Shreyanka Patil adds in this format.
But Dipti
WCPL mein
Sharma is
utna,
also that good with a
oh,
bat, bro. What do you mean?
So,
bhai,
so that
bhai,
is
bhai,
see
bhai.
that is where Shreyanka gets the nod, which is why I said she's
Yeah.
a direct swab there because
Deepti Sharma's batting,
yeah,
sorry to cut Nikhil, sorry
कोई
there.
वादा नहीं,
हाँ,
कोई वादा
दीप्ति
नहीं.
शर्मा's batting
हाँ.
IPL, I mean, sorry, WPL में अगर आपने देखा है, Shreyanka Patil got stats every time. In fact, I mean, I don't know why I know this stat. She had the best first three ball strike rate. Sorry, I know it's a very random stat to put out there.
No, but
But
it is crucial because the time when they come in,
exactly,
that is
number
what
8, number
matters.
7. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's shown that she has this ability to score boundaries right from the get-go, and that's exactly what you want. Deepti Sharma, the batter, unfortunately has disappointed us in the T20 format. No doubt, I love her. She's a fantastic cricketer, and her bowling smarts are second to none. And I don't see anyone replacing her. I don't even consider Shreyanka Patil as Deepti Sharma's replacement. If anything, I see both of them bowling in tandem. We need to understand women's cricket is not played the way men's cricket is. Imagine Deepti and I would love to see them both over 16 to 20, man. Trust me,
But
batters would find it
see,
difficult.
my only problem with that is you are already short selling the Indian pacers in terms of the options there. And it's always been a problem where you're using, say, a Radha someday, uh, or somebody else someday, but that consistency, because it's not just one thing or the one tournament. You have to look at it in terms of, because I don't remember India having a good end overs pacer in
No, we
that
haven't.
format from Julian. There is no option at
Julian.
all. So that's where you'll want to groom as a one pacer and one spinner kind of option. But yeah, I think long way to go there. So
But yeah, जब तक वो नहीं होता तब तक might as well make do with Shreyanka na. Fine, when
yeah,
we get in a
100%.
pacer, then yeah. Like I don't understand why people look at Shreyanka as someone's replacement. And to be honest, she would be ahead of the likes of
See,
Sneha.
the replacement bit is also because where else do you fit her? So who does she come? Now even Sneh Rana, I don't think has been used well at all by this setup. So it just feels
Fair.
weird. Even by Gujarat, she was with Gujarat, right?
Yeah, Gujarat.
So even they did not at times use her well. So I think there's a lot of room there for better usage. My favorite word.
But अगर आप Bangladesh series सब देखोगे, they had the likes of Minnu Mani coming in and playing,
Yeah.
in the low middle order. That's why Shreyanka could have come in. And even in the Asian Games, they've gone ahead with Kanika Ahuja. Again, loved her. In fact, she scored the first 50 for successful 50 rather in a win for RCB. She's a fantastic player, but would she add more value to the Indian team in its current form than Shreyanka Patil? I highly doubt. So that's where I don't understand. Like, to be honest, in that sense, this WPL has actually, like, the Indian team is exactly where it was before the WPL. Even, I mean, sorry, is exactly. Wow, man, I'm really struggling for words today. I guess the package the package that Avnish got, some of it must have found its way into my room as well. But yeah, what I was trying to say is
What?
the
What?
WPL.
No,
the WPL
no. Okay, one second. We're going off tangent over here.
अरे
And I
बात
just-
तो खत्म करने दो एक मिनट
I'm trying to, getting your words right.
अरे खत्म तो कर लेने दो भाई पता
Go
है
on.
कल सुबह पनवेल निकलना है खत्म कर लेता हूँ no but the point I was trying to make is the WPL was supposed to help the Indian team move on, build a new setup, new squad and all of that. A, we still aren't sure of the coach. B, we're still not sure what our squad is supposed to be. We literally did not take any of the top performers from the WPL.
अरे
No
seems like IPL.
भाई आईपीएल 15 साल से हम यहाँ आदत हो गई है ना
फिर
WPL
भी नहीं. That is the exact point. If you haven't used IPL after 15 years of its existence, it's very high of you to expect कि एक साल के WPL से they'll suddenly find the answers.
सॉरी वन मोर थिंग मैंने कहा ना इंडियन वुमेन्स क्रिकेट टीम का और बड़ा फैन हूं तो फर्क नहीं पड़ता भाई.
By the way, speaking of the Indian women's cricket team, let's just close this chat by telling you all that their next assignment is that Asiad Games. They're going to be joining the men in terms of a small preparatory camp here, right at the Chinnaswamy, under the guidance of VVS Lakshman for the men and Rishikesh Kanitkar for the women. So good luck to both those teams. We'll, of course, talk about that in the next Monday Night Live. Apparently, Akshay is going to be doing that Monday Night Live from Kashmir, if the Wi-Fi permits him.
Dehradun,
Or the Wi-Fi permits him. Wi-Fi permits him.
Dude, I'm 25, I'm unmarried. Stop. शादी करा के भेज रहा है भाई कश्मीर
Yeah, you've been married, but then after that, whatever happened. Okay, anyway, let's move on. And before we, of course, move on to Akshay's quiz of Howzzat, which is a sumptuous one this time around, check out the brand new cricket.com advert. This is why you guys should really spread the word and check this out. I'll say no more.
Well, I'm pretty much excited for the game. Oh, so the camera is here.
Yeah, you were like, what?
Cricket.com, one destination for all things cricket, expert opinions, fun banter, statistics, and a lot more on features, fan camp, Monday Night Live, classics, match previews, reviews, stance, and deep point.
Dude, how do you miss that?
We don't miss anything. Stats, analysis, news, everything. So keep calm and follow cricket.com.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Say yes to cricket classics. Say yes to the heroics of the Indian cricket.
In the air, Sreesan takes it! India win! Dhoni finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd.
say yes to cricket.com. We love memes and we know you too.
I'm almost in my mind Jaya Bachchan from Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, waiting with a thali to welcome Jasprit Bumrah back.
क्रिकेट टीम में सिलेक्ट हुए गुड
Watch features where we cover topics that interest all the generations.
Bharat Mata ki jai.
Are you a bigger MS Dhoni fan or a Chennai Super Kings fan?
I'm a cricket fan more.
Oh!
I feel his dot ball percentage really needs to improve.
And through stance, we put across our opinions on the burning topics.
Please play some serious cricket.
Asli cricket is test cricket.
Please follow us already. Please follow us already. Well done, and shout out to Weber for that edit. And it just basically goes to show that we've had so much. We've of course planned it for you very intricately as well, and we showed you the other food meme yesterday, but I won't get into that. Thoughts about the advert, guys? Akshay?
Huge shout out to Webhub. I was actually going to say if you not brought that up, fantastic work. And you would imagine I wouldn't laugh so much at myself, but it's still exactly this thing still gets me going.
Yes! No! What were you even saying? Which dismissal was that?
This was Ayush Badoni's hit wicket during the infamous RCB LSG encounter that happened in
remember that.
Chinnaswamy.
What a shambles of a game. What a
Nobody has
shambles.
fallen off. Yes, it's a hit wicket.
But yeah, Pranam Anand going on to say great ad, wo kabhi kushi kabhi gum wala Akshay ne. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, next, what do you make of the app?
Hindi.
Sorry, my bad. I've literally slaughtered it. Next, what did you make of the ad? Because even neural hacks liked it. Good.
Yeah, it's just a good, just like everything that we offer, it's a good summary. Plenty of bases covered there, and some really good insights where you talked about MS Dhoni, and suddenly the deep point comes in by says, and iska dot ball percentage zyada. That is, this is such a small intricate things that you have to pick up. And of course, good to see me being Jaya Bachchan there, welcoming Bumrah, because that's what eventually every Indian cricket fan wants. But no, I think it is something that I've said in the past. It's important to consume the right content as well. So hopefully we all can combine and do this a lot more. So those who are watching and those who will watch in the future, please do stay in with the journey, because this is the start. There is a lot to do and a lot to offer as well from cricket.com, I'm sure.
And like Akshay said earlier, the Indian cricket team always play because there's always going to be action. We'll be covering it, of course. Apart from Indian cricket, we always talk about other things, and the website and the app is a testimony to that. Right, so let's get on to, of course, giving you some goodies on the Monday Night Live in terms of the quiz. And it is that familiar quiz which we love, and it's called Howzzat is Akshay Kumaraswamy's brainchild, at least 6 episodes in running in right now. Last week, we asked you this, basically saying, make the connection, basically telling us whatever Akshay asked. So Akshay, you take this forward right now and take over, my friend.
Yeah, sure. And I just wanted to display Vasant's comment. Thank you, Vasant. I mean, I hope, quite a few of you, if not all of you, are looking forward to the answer to this question. Unfortunately, we had only one person even attempting to answer last week. I kept it this way just to sort of, just to add some fun elements to it. So before I get to the answer, I'd like to sort of throw it open to Nikhil and Avnish. I know Avnish has he's tried to answer this question even last week. He sort of couldn't figure it out. Nikhil,
I tried to.
I know you tried to. Ruko. तुम मत बताओ, तुम्हें तो शायद अभी
No,
आंसर
this
पता
is a complete. I don't know if this is the right one. I have no idea.
रुको एक
But
मिनट
Did Shahrukh and Hrithik attend each of these games secretly?
Wow.
Man, how am I supposed to guess? How am I supposed to guess? Listen,
Okay,
I'll
I'll tell the answer. But
I'm
before
not
that,
the one
Nikhil,
with the Kabhi Kushi Kabhi Gum meme, so it's Nikhil you should ask.
yeah, fair, interesting. Nikhil, कभी खुशी कभी गम वाला मीम है तो आपको ही आंसर करना पड़ेगा, बताओ.
No, I'm not actually sure, but I felt it was a close win and loss both. A close win and a close loss aspect, because, and it's a single run thing. because that's what leads to the most disappointing things and most happiest moments in your life as well.
True. I mean, in fact, that the only guess that we had was also Yash Tralshawala who guessed saying that these are the only teams who've had a one-run victory. So I mean, good guesses. Santosh Urpa now saying last ball sixes, but yeah, there have been more instances. Other teams have also won. With the last ball six, RCB themselves have won it twice. KS Bharat and Arun Karthik. So that wasn't the right answer. So the right answer is these are the only teams to have had brothers being a part of their squads.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god!
Yeah. So Mumbai Indians
Oh my
twice because of
God.
the Jansen brothers and the Pandya brothers. Chennai Super Kings had the Hussey brothers. Delhi Daredevils have had the Mokil brothers. RPSG have had the Cheher brothers, and SRH have had the Pathan brothers. Both Irfan and Yusuf have featured in SRH. So that was basically the funda. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys
That's
like the
crazy.
question.
Did anyone get your question right?
No, unfortunately, no. So that's
I think
the
all of us focus far too much on the team aspect in
Yeah.
terms of what could we
Exactly.
get out of those
Dot
two
ball
images
percentage.
if there was a hint.
Exactly.
Dot
So
ball
yeah.
No, but okay,
With
fine.
it-
1 second. Pranav is going to say, wow, great question. I just want to ask
Thank
you,
you.
did that user guy get it right? He
No,
normally gets all the
unfortunately,
things right.
yeah, but he didn't even attempt. That's the thing, right? There was just one attempt. Yash was the only one who even attempted. It almost seemed like everyone had given up. Arey bhai, ye to samajh nahi aa raha. Which is why I explicitly told several times, don't look too much into the teams. Imagine their logos. Even that's good enough. Because those, मतलब वो squads में आपको कुछ पता नहीं चलेगा. It's all about understanding the team. Sports fan says, answered it. भाई कहाँ पे आंसर किया यार? हमने तो साफ साफ बोला है ना, मेन कमेंट सेक्शन पे आंसर करना है. And I don't even remember anyone answering it even during the live chat of last episode. Either ways, unfortunately, if you did answer it, I don't think you'd be eligible to win.
Screenshot.
Haan,
Bhej dena
bhej
if
do,
you
bhai.
have-
Exactly.
So for the very
Exactly.
first time in a Monday Night Live, we don't have merchandise to give away, which is unfortunate. But look, it works well for us.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Yes.
sports fan saying that user ID, I'm guessing user -65, whatever, that's him. So he's basically trying to say that he's the one who's. Oh, congrats, sports fan. All right, but last week to aapne answer nahi diya. And yeah, so let's hope people get their answers right this time. And guys, make sure you comment in the live comment section. I mean, sorry, in the main comment section and not the live chat. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy these questions. We have a question right now as well. Let me just
Akshay,
display-
before you show those questions, I just want to
Alright.
tell all you guys watching this right now, the next segment on Monday Night Live, which is basically in 3 minutes time, we're going to take all the best questions that you guys have asked us in the live chat and we'll address them. So Jaideep, Gajera, I think cricket.com as well. If you guys could just hold on after Akshay finishes his Howzzat segment, we'll answer everything. So just be patient and like this video in the meanwhile. Akshay, take it away. This is the Howzzat this week.
All right. Yeah. So to be clear, it's basically a fairly simple who am I? I've given you 4 hints. After scoring 6 consecutive sixes in a T20 encounter, I was signed by an iconic IPL franchise as a replacement on the very same day. Unfortunately, I did not get any game time that season. 3 years later, I was once again signed by another franchise as a replacement for their skipper. Unfortunately, I couldn't play a lot of games, but I did make my IPL debut then. Then, 7 years since I first donned an IPL jersey, I was bought in an IPL auction. But unfortunately, I decided to make myself unavailable for the season. Life came a full circle when the very same player that I replaced the first time replaced me. Yeah, these are the 4 hints for you. So to be clear, in a certain season, a certain overseas player scored 6 consecutive sixes in a T20 match, and then he was signed as a replacement. 3 years later, he was once again signed as a replacement for the team's skipper. And 4 years post that, or rather 7 years in total. Okay, I hope I'm not confusing people a lot here, but basically 4 years after being signed as a replacement for that team's skipper, I first donned and oh wow, man, I'm once again, geez, the slip of tongue is really bothering me today. But yeah, I was basically bought in an IPL auction for the first time. So before that, the previous 2 occasions, I'd come into the squad as a replacement. This was the first time I was actually bought in an IPL auction. But I unfortunately did not play any part in that season because I declared myself unavailable. And the player I replaced 7 years ago was the player who replaced me this time around. And one more hint, one more hint. This isn't mentioned here, but there's one more hint, which is basically I played only 6 games in all of IPL, and I started off well, scoring 45 in both my first couple of innings. So first innings also 45, second innings also 45.
One second. Hold the phone
This
here.
part,
Your first clue, after scoring 6 consecutive sixes in a T20 encounter.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't know if that's a misleading clue or if that's
No, 6 sixes or 6 balls, not in the same over, but 6 consecutive sixes.
Got it.
Yeah. And he's basically remembered for his dismissal in his very last IPL innings. This is the clue I would sort of leave it with.
What?
Yeah.
Next, do you have a clue
6
about who
innings.
this boy is talking about?
He's only played 6 games, but he's most remembered for his dismissal in his very last IPL game. There's something very iconic, very sort of famous about it. Yeah.
Okay, anyone in the comments, please help me out because I'm struggling.
And
Nikhil,
please
what
comment
about
in the
you?
main comment section. Please do comment in the main comment section.
For sure. And there's some big breaking news. India Pakistan will resume at 9:20. If you guys are watching this later, forgive me. But for all the people in the live chat, important news for y'all. Any guesses? Six.
Wait, I hope people have. Yeah, I hope I've not confused people. I've tried to keep it as simple.
You have.
I know, but I try to keep it as simple. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I don't know what's confusing. Just to be clear, is that guys, if you have any doubts, any queries, please do put it in here. Avnish, Nikhil, do you have any doubts?
I think it's the first clue is kind of subjective in your head because you say an iconic IPL franchise. I don't know who you mean by that. Iconic.
Okay.
Right?
ठीक है. An IPL franchise. Iconic हटा दे. ठीक है? An IPL franchise signed him as a replacement on the very same day.
Okay. And can you tell me if that this bloke is Indian or he's overseas?
ये सब बताएंगे तो फिर आप क्या करेंगे भाई?
I'm amazed that no one in the comments has actually tried to even attempt answering this.
बहुत time लगा है भाई पूरा ऐसा जोड़ के मरोड़ के.
And you can't Google it, right? As in you
Which
can.
Is exactly why. I mean, you can Google, but exactly मैंने hints भी ऐसे इसीलिए दिए ताकि आप आराम से सोच समझ के.
Okay, before we close up, Nikhil, do you have any idea of who this guy is?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
हाँ, exactly. Nikhil, आप यहाँ पे मत बताना.
Once I have enough time set looking at everything because अभी इतना कुछ सुन लिया है ना. Last game 45 मारा 2 ये वो सब थोड़ा शांति से.
Yeah.
Akshay,
I think that it will be easier to eliminate, but you just have to think it through.
True. So Santosh, to be clear, first time when he came in after scoring those 6 consecutive sixes, he did not play any games. Only in the second stint, when he replaced the certain skipper of a certain franchise, did he play 6 games. Uske baad, even in the third time, when he was bought in the IPL auction, he declared himself unavailable. So of course he didn't play. So yeah, he's only played in that second stint. And all these 3 instances have been stints with different franchises. So the first franchise that signed him as a replacement was a different one. The second franchise that signed him as a skipper's replacement was a different one. And the third one that bought him in an auction was also a different one. So yeah, he's only played in his second stint when he was signed as a skipper's replacement. I feel that's the biggest clue, to be honest. See, I'm being generous.
I've just tried to think about it, but I'll try to help the viewers if I can, but I really don't want to because all you guys can actually use your mind and tell us the answer of this week's Howzzat. Right, almost done and dusted with the Monday Night Live this time around. We'll just end it by always taking your questions because that's what matters the most. Right, I'll start with cricket.com. And he goes on to say, Nikhil, is the CPL drafts unsuitable for the distribution of local Caribbean talent? What do you make of that?
See, I think if Akshay wants to go ahead and answer it, because I haven't been able to watch CPL's distributions and operations as much. So may not be the best person to answer that.
Akshay?
He's on mute. We have a classic.
You got to at least unmute yourself to try to answer it now. So, yeah.
Sorry. I was just saying that I don't know if I would also be the best person, but yeah, from what little I've seen and understood, yeah, it definitely is not the greatest of options out there simply because there's a very skewed concentration of local talent. You see the likes of TKR, you see the likes of even Barbados Royals. Pretty much all of West Indies, major West Indies international T20 players are concentrated between these, are a part of these 2 setups. And then you look at something like a Ghana Amazon Warriors or a St. Lucia Kings. They rely on their overseas talent, on their overseas pool. So it is very skewed. Definitely, they could come up with a better way of ensuring that doesn't happen. But how do you do it? That's the bigger question, because it's not a centrally run franchise like, say, the BPL, where where the board has all authority on who is being signed and all of that. It's all owned by private franchises. So I'm not sure how exactly would this. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I do agree it is unsuitable.
I think it always comes down to the team management of any T20 franchise when they look at their local talent at disposal. I think they also need to take a few calls in terms of, now, say for example, a certain CPL team has a local scout or a former West Indian player, then I think more personnel in the dressing room like that will have a say in things like this and will eventually be able to alter it. But like the boys said, we have very kind of little knowledge about it, but we'd love to kind of answer that in a much more detailed fashion for you, cricket.com, next week. So hopefully you can join us for the next week's show, and I'll definitely answer that for you. I'm not letting that slip 100%. Now, Jaydeep Gajera going on to say a relatively easy one, or ask a relatively easy one, I should say. What will be the first 11 from this New Zealand squad that you guys showed us earlier? I'll put it up again for the benefit of you guys joining us right now. And maybe, Nikhil, you can tell me your 11 of New Zealand this World Cup.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking at the scorecard that we had last night. So you probably expect Conway to be there right up top. Very keen to see who partners, whether it is Kane, which I don't, it should be Will Young most likely. So then Kane drops in at first drop. Then you have Darren Mitchell, Tom Latham, Glenn Phillips, Jimmy Neesham, Rashid Ravindran, whoever you want to play there. Santner, Henry, Trent Bolt. I think the only question is the William being the opening partner. Williamson drops at number 3. The only question will be between Ravindran and Jimmy Neesham, because I think rest of them pick themselves. There's not much to really debate there unless they feel that they want to add an extra spinner or play the don't play the all-rounder in that sense.
So your 9, 10, 11 is Henry, Bolt, and Sodi.
Yeah, Saudi, Bolt, Henry, and yeah.
And I think
that is. See, it eventually be Glenn Phillips को नहीं खिला रहे हो तो सोडी को खिलाना है कि नीशम को नहीं खिला रहे हो तो that also they can work.
Fair.
Yeah,
fair,
that was
fair.
my next question. Like, I don't know how much Glenn Phillips and someone like Darren Mitchell will bowl, but presuming it's India, maybe they'll kind of just roll their arms over. Who knows? Want to take another question right now. Where did it go? Let's go for this one then. It comes from Cricket.com. How is it to pick your fantasy 11s in a tournament like the CPL? For someone who doesn't play fantasy cricket, could you give them straight tips? Do you play safe? How do you go about it? Avoid?
Simple answer. Just look at the scorecards. Just look at the over distributions and try to make sense of it. It is beyond you. Kimo Paul playing as a specialist batter and bowling only 1 over. Dominic Drakes plays, sometimes bowls 4, sometimes. See, you can make a call depending on conditions and all of that. I generally feel tournaments where you have 8 to 9 bowling options, 8 to 9 batting options, and teams are free to experiment, it's not the best kind of games to play fantasy. It depends on the kind of person you are in terms of how you visualize. If you have 8 bowling options, it is very difficult for me to visualize if those 8 may say 6 of them are of the same level. If you have 4 very good options and 2-3 dicey ones, then it is fair. You can still take a guess that, okay, if it's an Australia game, there are 7 bowling options. 4 should definitely bowl at least their full quota. So that is how I go by deciding which games which I feel could be predictable in terms of, see, eventually fantasy is what? Trying to play the game in your mind. If you are able to play the game in your mind in the right order, given the 2 kind of 11s or squads, then you should play. The biggest problem with CPL for me is the timing. I can't follow all the games because different time of life and the conditions. The biggest problem in fantasy today is getting conditions right. Teams who are playing there are not able to read it. You're only going to guess. So I personally prefer to avoid. So if I play, I only play Grand Leagues. I'm not going to invest much in those games. And I personally have something with people whose captains are starting with H. So teams led by Hardik Pandya, Alisa Healy, Harmanpreet Kaur, I don't have a good time trying to understand their brains because they work differently. So everybody has their own chinks, and that is my chink, that I can't predict their tactics.
And just because we're on the whole fantasy topic, just because I like you guys so much in the comments and the viewers watching this, I'll just share my screen. And what I'll do is just share you an interface, a brand new interface of our website and how it is so easy, accessible fantasy stats. You click on the fantasy thing. For example, if you want to pick the South Africa-Australia game, all you do is just go to them, check the fantasy stats out, and any player will tell you everything that you need to know, like Bavuma stats. You want David Miller, it'll show you their graph, it'll show you their strengths and weaknesses. It's fantastic. So fantasy cricket, if you guys are new, cricket.com is definitely the place to be. Right, last question, and I don't know if it's a serious question, but it comes from Pranav Anand, one of our favorite guys in the comments, so we'll take it. Head is a prime candidate for KKR contact, isn't it? Batting aggressively and struggles against short balls. Oh, my word.
See, I'll tell you the irony. It is this common, yet India took 2 hours to understand they should bowl short at him.
Yeah.
It is that bad.
It is that bad. It is quite horrific. By the way, Rizwan's gone. We can give you more information over there.
Shardul.
Shardul working his magic. Someone in the comments earlier said the rain won't let Lord bowl. But look, it's honestly this thing. Thanks for watching. It's honestly been...
Wait. I know you. I mean, I know for a fact that you know why I'm laughing. So yeah, better. That's good. That's much
good.
better.
Good to see you, Sahangi, again. Avi and you, could you guide me to? I will. I honestly will. Follow me on Instagram. I think it's better.
It's only Instagram, huh? Not Twitter. Nothing to Instagram to follow. All right.
It is already done. He's just saying for the sake of it.
Right.
Yeah, honestly. It's all planted. That's what Nick says. And that's what many people believe. But look, hope you guys have had some real good fun in this Monday Night Live. There's more things to appreciate on the cricket.com YouTube channel, especially tomorrow, Tuesday. We're familiarizing it with classics. And yet again, tomorrow, we have an Asia Cup classic. And it's about the 1986 tournament. Ring a bell, Indian fans? Oh, wait, they didn't play that Asia Cup. The only Asia Cup they didn't play. So here's a little teaser to tomorrow's video. The continental event would be played without the defending champions. Desperate to make the tournament a success and avoid it being a bilateral affair, the hosts invited Bangladesh to join the fleet. Thus, Bangladesh played their first ever one-day international in the group stage of the Asia Cup in 1986. Bangladesh had lost both their matches against Pakistan and Sri Lanka respectively by identical margins, 7 wickets, and they crashed out of the meet. Pakistan defeated Sri Lanka in the group stage but were handed a 5-wicket defeat in the final, and Sri Lanka went on to clinch their maiden silverware in the Asian circuit. It was the only edition which did not feature India, making Sri Lanka the only nation to have played in each Asia Cup, starting from 1984. Yeah, it's a good watch, that one. It drops tomorrow at 8 p.m. But we're, of course, going to be doing the preview at 2:25 with tomorrow's encounter as well. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Akshay and Nikhil, it's been a fantastic one. Enjoy the India-Pakistan game. Hopefully, we can finish and get a result in the Super Fours. And if you guys haven't already followed us on the live blog, go check that out if you guys are into cricket writing and written content, I should say. That's all we have. It's a goodbye from all of us here. We'll see you guys shortly. Remember, we're going to be doing the India-Pakistan post-match review. So if you guys love that, there's going to be Somesh and Gurkirat part of that as well. I'll be joining them in just due course whenever the game winds up, 5 minutes post that. So do jump on that stream and like that as well. Until the next time, it's a goodbye from Akshay, Nikhil, and me. And we'll see you next Monday, chaps. Not really, but if you guys know, you know. Cheers.